I didn't realize the impact in the 10, 11 years or so. And it's, ultimately it continues to make me a better person. It's life-changing for the child. As you know, like it just, coming into a family or into a home and being welcomed is, a life changer. You realize that if you didn't and they ended up staying where they were, that they would have a different life. But they also come with, you never know what's behind the eyes, and what's in the head. You have to evolve. Like I've evolved. We've all evolved with it because he has his challenges. He's a great kid. There's a lot of love in our house. But again, it's a journey. And so it definitely isn't boring and it can be aggravating at times, but ultimately at the end, it's the greatest.
Welcome back to the Hart Hustle Podcast. Have you ever met someone who went from the casino floor to the mayor's office and then flipped the script on what a chamber of commerce should actually be? Yeah, that's Bruce Flax, and today we're diving into how he's turning Mystic into more than just a town on a map. It's actually a movement. Bruce is the current president of the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, former mayor of Groton, hopefully I said that correct, and someone who just got that blend of Hart Hustle and straight up real-world leadership. Bruce, glad to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Was that a good intro, right?
It was a great intro,
there, man.
Yeah, it is Groton, not Groton.
Groton. There you go, man. So let's kind of get into it. I want to go way back right now. Maybe not way back, but what did 24 years at Foxwoods teach you about people, leadership, and pressure?
Yeah, no, I got to Foxwoods in 1994 when I was 30. And had been in the ticketing business for several years, and heard that there was an opening at Foxwoods, which had opened a year and a half earlier, and went down. I grew up in Massachusetts, and Foxwoods is in Connecticut, and went down for the interview and got the job. And it was it opened up a world that was in the 24 years, you still don't learn everything. You continue to learn new things. When I first got down there, I was in charge of about 100 people, having never been in charge of anybody. And it just, understanding people, understanding their problems, understanding my problems, understanding the casino's issues and problems, all came around to truly allow me to grow and taught me a lot about myself. And I'm very thankful for it. But I was at Foxwoods. I started in ticketing, but also did bingo. They have a huge bingo hall.
Okay. Yeah.
And then, because I was under finance, and then 8 years into that, they moved me under hotel operations. So I kept ticketing, but was in charge of guest services and communications and co-check. And again, learning a lot. Communications and co-check were 24-hour departments, so always on call, and continue to develop my people and leadership skills. And then about 5 years after that, they moved me over to entertainment, and I was director of ticketing and did marketing for the shows. Yeah. I had the theater report to me. So constantly having different people that were under me, but allowed me to grow a great deal and develop. And
amazing, and I'm happy that you took that away as well. Is there a moment on the casino floor that really just sticks with you till today?
There's a yes. The casino is owned by the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation, and unbelievable. Like they've I worked there and raised 5 kids there, and it gave me the support I needed. When I first started there, I want to meet everybody. I'm always like trying to help people. You want to when you talk to somebody, you want to grab something that they're talking about and have a commonality. And one of the tribal members had said to me, they lived in Ledyard, which is a town. And I said, oh, my wife is a teacher at Ledyard High School. And I was like, what's your son's name? He's like, I don't want to tell you my son. Like, he got very defensive, didn't want to tell me his son's name, thought it was very protective, and definitely raised an eyebrow for me to understand not just the people who worked for me, but who I worked for, and working for the tribe and understanding the journey that they were on and how protective they were, and just gave me a good foothold into how to navigate.
I love that, man. But then you go into you going from the casino world to public service. Was there that "what am I doing" moment, or did it just feel like this is just a natural next play that I should be on?
Yeah, it's funny. The I was on Groton Town Council for 7 years and mayor for 2 years, and that was concurrent to when I was working at the casino. So they're you don't get paid for them. You're serving your community, and it's funny. A friend of mine, back in probably '98 or something, maybe in the early 2000s, said to me, "Oh, we'd love for you to run for town council. Do you want to run for town council?" I'm like, "Sure." Like, what do I need to do? And they're like, "Well, I just need to be a Republican." And at the level of that I was at I was a Democrat, and at the local level in 2003, not a big deal. So I went and changed to a Republican, ran for that, lost the first election, lost the second election, and then when somebody got off the council, I got in and replaced them, and then was on for 7 years and became mayor. And understanding that whole, not political world, but the local government world, like the town government, crazy. Like, you think that, there's things that move slow. In like your regular work world, you want things to be fast paced. Things are very difficult to get done in local government. But we did our thing, and we made some changes, and tried to keep costs down, and while maintaining the respect for social services and that kind of thing.
Love it. And then now you're doing work with the chamber, or right? Just kind of journey was. So how bad was it when you walked into the chamber for the first time?
Yeah. So just to catch up I was with the Foxwoods. I had worked all during COVID in 2020, and they tried to do shows where there was 5 seats between people in order to have shows, and it just it wasn't working. And so they ended up furloughing me in December of 2020. And I was already the chairman of the board for the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. And 7 days before I was furloughed, the president of the chamber resigned. And so when I was furloughed, I was just kind of going to the office of the chamber and doing stuff and seeking a replacement for her. And as it turns out, as I was doing it, was having these conversations with my wife about working for the tribe, how great it's been, but don't really know what my exit strategy is going to be. Don't know what my shelf life is. Right now I'm 60, so I was 55, 56 back then, and decided to take a substantial pay cut and work for our community. So I ended up coming into the chamber. It was a little bit of a mess at the time, financially and just from a personnel standpoint, and came in, and it's been great, very, very fulfilling. A lot has happened. We've done a lot of crazy things and great things, but the decision to do that was me wanting to leave the casino and come into local. I live a mile from town. My office is right in Mystic now. And having had that background of the town council and the mayor, and having been at the casino was a good background to serve me as I came into this position.
And then you put together 5 things to do in Mystic, which is totally knocking it out of the park. What was the light bulb moment that really sparked that idea?
Yeah. So one of the things that we're trying to do, and I think that people in the chamber world sometimes lose sight of, is that it shouldn't be what can you do for me? Really, we should be what can we do for you? And when I came in, we decided to like what I call nickel and diming the members. Like, it's $20 to be in the newsletter. It's so and so to be in a social post. It's this much to be on our website. I wanted to eliminate all that. It's really hard. I've learned it's really, really hard to own a small business and get that going, and just didn't want to be a bear. And so we're trying to figure out these ways that we can be a benefit to our members. And we were kind of the first thing that we did was a show called Mystic Matters, which used to be a closed circuit TV, like local access cable, like Wayne's World. And
good show, Wayne's World.
Yeah, it was just too long. The segments were too long. They were too long. And so we ended up hooking up with a video company and doing a new Mystic Matters. And we did like 7 episodes where not me, but my membership manager at the time was the hostess, and she would go into businesses. So there's a very well-known bakery here called Sift. Adam Young won best baker in America on the Food Channel, and he's run a very successful business. So we did an episode with him where they made something together. And we did like 7 episodes, and there was something wrong with them in that people weren't engaging with them. They weren't watching them. They were too long, whatever. So we were talking about it and saying, like, what can we do to promote membership and promote the events down here? And we're like, how about 5 things to do in Mystic? So we the key to it was finding a videographer who would help us, really quality, well-produced stuff, and the price would be right. And it was good for him because he got exposed to all these businesses that may need video help. Yeah. And so we started doing it. And we started it in August of 23, I think it was. And people started watching them. We put it on Facebook and on Instagram, and they'd get, 3,000 views, 6,000 views. And then we always boosted it. Just $25, we boosted it, and then we found a sponsor it was presented by, and that was great that they believed in us. That was in November, and as the videos started going, they started building, and so we're getting 25 to 65,000 views a weekend. We film them every Monday or Tuesday. We put them out Wednesday night or Thursday, and it's great because we'll be out like. 2 Fridays ago, we were at a restaurant in Mystic, and this guy came up to me. I was with my wife and my daughter and a couple of their friends, and he's like, "You're Bruce Flax, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "5 things?" I'm like, "Yep." He goes, "I'm here tonight because I saw your 5 things and we came." I'm like, and of course I get the eye roll from my family because with the 5 kids, I'm like, I'm a social influencer, and they're like, okay, sure you are.
I know my wife hates it. Everywhere we go, she's like, "You just know everybody." I'm like, "That's not my fault."
Yeah, exactly. So we're out, and usually a couple of times a week, we have people say it to me. And what I love about it is, I always say it's 5 things, driven by Joshua's Worldwide, which is a sponsor, and they always say it back to me. So like that, it resonates with people. They know it. They tell me that it's something that they like people who own Airbnbs share it with the people who are coming in that weekend. I have people who say to me, we look at it every weekend to see what's going on in Mystic, and we try to be diverse and do different things. And we've had people say that it's been very effective in building their audience and the people who come to their event. So it's been really fun.
That is so good.
And we haven't missed a week in probably a year and a half. So
staying consistent. Yeah, you got something, man. And especially when you start to hear your people around like, "Hey, it's working." I mean, if it's working, why not do it, right? And I'm pretty sure it's fun. It sounds like something's fun as well because you're promoting businesses, you're getting, opportunities back to those business owners in the communities. Like, how cool is that? I really think that some people should adopt this. I mean, there's people, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm pretty sure you've experienced this. There's chambers out there that are still running like a Rotary Club in the 90s, right? Yeah. Why do you think?
I think it's that old school mentality. Like, why don't change it? That's the way we've always done it. And that's kind of what we faced when I got here, was, hey, I know what works for Mystic and what doesn't, so we're good. And it's such a limiting way to think. Yeah. The success we've had definitely goes hand in hand with the social, and I think a lot of chambers don't have the financial wherewithal to be able to do a lot of different things. You have your events, you have membership. We had like a W-9, like a contracted
Mhm.
person to do our social, and she's been
Mhm.
amazing. Like we have a great relationship. She's single-handedly, we've learned together, and her knowledge and what she
So good.
does and when she does it have increased our. So like the success that we've seen has come from the success of our social and how we built it.
Mhm.
And there's many chambers, even in our area, that we're friends with and competitive with, who
Mhm.
don't have, like, may have a great Facebook, but their Instagram they never really developed, and
Yeah.
you really need both. And so, to your question about why do some chambers not engage, I think that they're just stuck in the past and
Mhm.
they don't have the, I'll say guts. Let's just say guts to go and try to do some of the other things.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying the podcast, we first want to say thank you. And we also just want to give you a little insight of what we're up to at Francis. Some don't even realize that we're working with organizations to help them use AI to create that real human communication experiences, whether that's actually supporting your families, those patients, or the entire community. We're actually creating tech that connects. Check it out, francis.ai. Love it. And other things, we can also kind of bring in AI into this topic. You're talking about being behind. Now we have AI that has really kind of changed a lot of the organizations. Hell, it's changed the healthcare. It changed, that space that has been the same for a very long time. Are you guys also working on AI? And if so, what are you guys doing to utilize AI within the
Yeah,
chamber?
so we are in our office. We all use it to write stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just, and it sounds so simple, and many people may know, but you can go in there and just give it a little background and say, I need a letter to send to the town for blah blah blah, and it comes back and it asks you if it's okay. So that saves a lot of time. Like we do, one of the programs we do is Community Proud, and we interview, our membership manager interviews somebody each week and humanizes the businesses, and those have been very successful. But she takes all the notes, writes up something, and then runs it through AI to just get to make sure it's 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 as good as we can get it. And then what we're working on right now is that benefit to members. So we are. I had been a part of a program in November where I was at uh, a chamber executives meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and we had this presentation from a guy up in Vermont who did AI. And here's the thing, like from a membership standpoint, we want to do things that's a benefit to them. And
Absolutely.
having somebody come and tell you how to use AI and give you this whole checklist of things to do to bring back to your office and do, they're never going to do. Right? We both know that, like, you get those things and it goes through steps, like
Yes.
you don't have time to pick that piece of paper back up again. So we're going to announce, we're going to have an AI with this guy, and we're going to tell you, first of all, it's like going to be like $25 for members. And we're going to say, bring your laptop with you, and when you leave, you'll be better set for AI than when you came. So
Mm-hmm.
it's to me, it's respecting the members and the businesses to the limited time that they have, and say, come here, and you're going to leave with your chat GPT knowing more about you and being able to serve you better after the 3 hours is done. And
That's so
and
good.
so that's and I think it's a really, to me, it's a really important point, because everybody, they have no time. They just
Mhm.
don't have time. The day is too much. And so if you're gonna and if you're gonna ask somebody for 3 hours of their time, it needs to be worthwhile. And
Yeah.
and that's what we're trying to do.
And Bruce, when it comes to AI and what automation is really doing to save time, like, man, when I tell you I was busy this past weekend, it's because I was building automation systems.
Yeah.
You talk about ChatGPT, right? I now got to the point that I can drop a video in my Google box and automatically is giving me the post for LinkedIn and Instagram, hashtags, captions
But unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah.
within minutes. So
Yeah.
when you talk about why are we not, adapting to it, I really feel that we're being a place where AI won't take your job, but someone using AI probably
Yeah.
will,
That's a
right?
great point.
Because it's a tool in your toolbox. It's not a replacement. And I think so many people are hesitant for it because they think that, robot, we've been using AI text predictive for a very long time. AI has been a thing. We weren't just calling it that. So I love how you guys are kind of implementing it. It's not just about how the organization is using it as in the chamber,
Mm-hmm.
but how others in the community can also start to adapt these tools to better, be efficient, right?
Yeah.
Run businesses better. So I like that. Do you have any advice actually that you can give to another chamber leader who actually think tech is too complicated or too corporate for them?
Oh yeah. I gotta tell you that kind of thinking is so limiting,
Yeah.
and you're just gonna you're gonna lose the race. Like you're not even be competitive in the race. That the IT, it is changing so much, but to not embrace it and to say like, hey, the newsletter that we print and mail or whatever they do is what works. Is you're going to lose the race. Please, you gotta, and I think also it's surrounding yourself with people who don't think like you. That it's certainly important in a leadership role to have support of people who, don't may have a different opinion than you, and may and also that you need to be open minded to. So when somebody new starts. We just had a new event person start, and he's amazing. And he's, he brings a whole set of. He's an artist, and he's a photographer. He knows social, and I say to the person who does our social, if you're worried, don't. We're a team, and we're gonna help each other. So because I think that in those small organizations sometimes there can be. I think, lack of a better word, paranoia about what people do, and somebody might come in and do it better. And the main thing is to have an open mind. So with that technology and AI, you have to embrace it.
I mean, go straight to your leadership, man. Your leadership of, I want to hire those that are just better than me in certain areas, right?
Yeah.
You have to. You can't control everything. You got to go find the right person. I always like to take it back to dating. Find that, you're going to go through a couple of them before you actually find that good social media person. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the first one that you just adapted to oh, this is great. It might have taken 2 or 3 of them. And a lot of people, I think, when they fail once or when they get that first bad one, they just don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
And continue to take that risk, until you find that one. You've also said before that I want to talk about, I just wanted to help people.
Yeah.
Where do you think that actually comes from? Is this something that just you grew up in, or, life led you to that point?
Yeah. That's a great question. I'm not sure I know completely. You'd like to think you have a good soul, and you want to be helping. I think also having all the kids that I had, having 5 kids and navigating their worlds, they're all different, and just wanting them to be happy and do well, and not worry, probably definitely helps a lot. And you also just want to please and want to make things always trying to, for better or for worse, trying to make those connections with people, so that when you're finding out about something or they say something, you're like, oh, did you know this? Let me help you with that. Or so I don't know what the genesis of it was. Back in back in high school, I was on crutches a lot. I had 13 knee operations, and
What?
got not bullied, but bullied a little bit, picked on because I was on crutches and stuff, and that probably made me a better person coming out of it, and seeing what other people go through and having a soft spot
firsthand, yeah.
And I think we've passed it on to our children, who are they feel the same way. I think I told you my daughter works for DCF. And another of my daughters works for Special Olympics Texas, and just carry that on. So probably my wife has more to do to it than I, but we're together. We're a good team, and we're very fortunate.
Bruce, I want to talk about your family for a second. The adoption journey.
Yeah.
What led you and your wife to say yes to that? I believe, when we just asked that first question on wanting to help people, to me, being an adoptee myself, I've always looked at it as a second chance in life, especially
Mhm.
that there were so many blessings from that, right? Being the leader that you are, I can only imagine your kids are just really taken in, because a leader doesn't stop when you walk in the door at home, right? You're always a leader, and you show that to your kids, even those that you now have taken in. Like, where did that come from? Like, what led you to that?
Yeah. It's a bit of a journey. Like, my wife has been a high school math teacher in Ledyard, the town next to ours,
Mm-hmm.
for 30 years now. And boy, 12 years ago or so, she came and she's like, she calls me Flax. She's like, Flax. I've been like, there's something like in my head, like at the top of my head, I see these kids in high school and who don't have a parent at home. And if they just had a parent, things would be so much better for them. And, we seem to be doing pretty well with our family. Like maybe there's an opportunity for us to, adopt. And
Yeah.
so we ended up going to a presentation and we took everybody. So the kids were, they were 5 to 15, maybe 5 to
Okay.
14, even less than that, 7 to 14. And we all went to this meeting. And so we heard about it and then we decided to go through the licensing. And so we went to there was a class you had to go 8 straight Wednesdays, so we did that. And then once you get licensed, you they do what's called pairing. So when there's a social worker in the state of Connecticut who has a child that's ready to be adopted, they go out to all the other social workers and say, "Hey, here's the profile of the child. Who do you have that would make it be a good fit?" Because when you do all that paperwork and stuff and you're looking at it, you can kind of say what you want. We'd like anybody. We don't want an infant. We prefer 2 years old, or you know
Mm-hmm.
we don't want somebody who's been drug dependent or had this kind. You kind of lay it out for what you think is best for your family. And so we did that, and we went through several pairings where we did not get a child, and then one day they called us with Damon, who's he's
Mm-hmm.
15, and said, here's who he is, here's where he's at. We think it's a great fit, and we agreed. And then the social worker in charge said we were the one. So it's
Wow.
really a crazy journey because first off, for the people out there listening, they need adoptive families, they need foster
Mm-hmm.
families. There's a big need right here in the United States and in the state of Connecticut. And it's amazing what it will do for you. How it's molded our family dynamic. My oldest daughter
Mm-hmm.
works for Department of
Yeah.
Child and Family, and that came. She did her thesis in the honors college at Southern on the impact of a mixed race kid in an all white family, which was our situation. Um,
I love
and
it.
um, and so it just it changed everybody for the better.
Yeah.
But it's been yeah.
I would ask you, is there anything that most people don't really understand about adoption that they should, that maybe you've learned that you didn't know?
Um, yeah, I want to say like it's not a sales pitch in any respect, but it's actually against it. But it changes things.
Mm-hmm.
It's I didn't realize the impact in the 10, 11 years or so, and it's ultimately it continues to make me a better person. Um, it's life changing for the child.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, like it just coming into a family or into a home, and being welcomed is a life changer. And you realize that if you didn't and they ended up staying where they were, that they would have a different life. Um, but they also come with you never know what's behind the eyes, and what's in the head, and you have to evolve. Like I've evolved. We've all evolved with it because
Amazing.
um, he has his challenges. He's a great kid. There's a lot of love in our house, um, but again, it's a journey, and so it definitely isn't boring, um, and it can be aggravating at times. But ultimately, at the end, it's the greatest.
I appreciate you sharing that. For me, I was already, when I was adopted by my aunt that I now call mom, and she had 4 kids of her own, and kind of my biological mom had 10 kids,
Oh,
but
wow.
she kept none of them, and not that she didn't want them.
Yeah.
Life, wherever she was in life, they were just taking her kids away. But my aunt decided she was going to take 3 of us in, and I always just give her flowers, right? Because it's not something that she had to do, and it's something that she did out of pure love and just wanting to do better. And then your situation the same, it's not something that you had to do, but out of pure love and wanting to do better in the world, you made that decision. Your family made the decision. So just kind of thank you, from
Yeah, no,
those that
it's
may be listening that hear this story. It's an adoptee like myself, and realizing that there is an issue when it comes to adoption. There's so many kids that just kind of never get that opportunity and then age out. And I mean, I know a woman now that doesn't really have family. So what happens when Thanksgiving comes around, and she doesn't have a brother or a mom or a sister, and she's just trying to find someone, right? You've kind of helping that. So I appreciate you.
yeah, no,
Definitely doing
I
that.
appreciate the kind words. I think that the there's so many people, like, you just don't people don't realize
Hmm.
what's behind people, meaning that you see somebody in the street, or you're walking down the street, and maybe they're having a bad day or you're having a bad day, and just realize that, like, there's so much that people don't see, and there's so
Hmm.
many blocks of problems and trouble that people go through that have to navigate every day, just like we do.
Yep.
But sometimes it's magnified many more times than what we are, and
Hmm.
you just got to be respectful and sympathetic at times, and just don't always
Hmm.
assume the worst. You know.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, that's it. Just have empathy, with people as well. But I love it, man. We could definitely go down this road even longer. But Bruce, I also want to talk about just your mindset and what you've kind of brought into what you're doing on a day to day. You treat it like a business, and most people would look at you like, why? Do you have a reason of why you look at this and treating it like a business?
Yeah, I think that like in that nonprofit world,
Hmm.
um, you lose sight sometimes that it's a business, and you're always in the cycles to try to raise money um, and uh, and try to figure out how it's going to just how you're going to get from day to day. And I think that, like, to look at it more as a business and trying to figure out, I think those get you some um, like outside values that
Hmm.
you look at, you just try to think of it in a bigger picture, and like how a business runs and how they become successful, and being able to apply that to the chamber or your nonprofit. And because I think that people think that the nonprofit is a separate, it's not a business, but it really is.
Hmm.
You know,
Truly,
it
yes.
really is. There's a budget and a profit and loss, and you're trying to figure things out. We're a 501c6, not a C3, so we're
Mm,
allowed to make money, to be able to continue to help
yeah.
ourselves, but we're still a .org in our website, um, and helping to understand the business side of things and make sure that you're focused on business-like things. I think even, like, treating your members as customers is a business way to think about things. Um, so all
So
those
good.
things kind of contribute.
So good. Where do you see Mystic in the next 10 years? Like,
Yeah,
what is your hope that Mystics is doing once you maybe decide, you know what, I'm really hanging it up? What are you leaving behind?
yeah. So I think that, first off, that it depends on who you are, is in terms of what you want for Mystic.
Hmm.
So if you're a person who lives close to town, you're like, okay, we may have had enough. And if you're a business owner, you're like, it's never enough. And
Hmm.
if you're a town leader, economic development, you have to keep that on the forefront. So when I first took over the chamber, it was right after COVID, and Mystic was in an okay place. Wasn't unbelievable, it was an okay place. Um,
Hmm.
During COVID, uh, it became more popular because Mystic has a kind of an outdoor component to it. The bridge
Hmm.
downtown, the shops, you could walk around the water. be safe. And if you want to go into a store, you just throw a mask on or whatever, go in. And so we saw that happen where people were coming. And then we saw Mystic. We ended up becoming well known for our food because we had 2 James Beard finalists. We had a James Beard Award winner last year. We have a James Beard nominee this year. And when David Standridge from Shipwright's Daughter won the Best Chef in the Northeast, it just continued to push us into an area where people were coming for our food. We have some great restaurants here,
Nice.
and we're known for our food now. And now they're coming for that, and so that happened. And we're seeing a number. There was a Hallmark movie called Mystic Christmas, which put us on the map as well. Mystic Pizza is 30 years old now.
That's cool.
And so all those things and the chamber, I think the chamber really helped get the word out about Mystic, and our social gets out there. And so that's helped to the point where it's going very, very well. But the economy is not looking great. We're not sure where it's going to go. Some of the store owners had tough January, February. So to me, you can't ever take the foot off the gas. So in 10 years, I think it's going to continue to grow and evolve, and maybe it won't be the food, but it might be something else, or it might go in waves. But I anticipate my feeling is to not take your foot off the gas and continue to promote and not take anything for granted. That you have to. So in 10 years, hopefully it's still thriving as it was today, maybe a little bit more, and maybe they've answered the parking problem. And continues to just be a destination that people can take for a day or for a week.
And some may say that's you leaving a legacy. I believe legacy isn't just what you leave behind, though. It's what you build while you're still there. And I think that's kind of where you're at. But what does legacy actually mean to you? If everyone has a different meaning of what that actually is. How about yours?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I've never really thought about it. I had a legacy at the casino because I was there for so long and, did a lot of things. So when I look back at how some of the things they operate and how the theater's structured, I'm like, all right, I can go back there and be happy about that. For this, I think it's carrying on. To me, the legacy is not viewing Mystic as Mystic, but viewing it as a larger area. So for those familiar with Southeastern Connecticut, Mystic it's just like a zip code with a personality. And if you're on one side of the bridge, you're in Groton. If you're on the other side of the bridge, you're in Stonington. And that was always the focus. And we've grown it with the development of a traveling visitor center we have. We've framed ourselves as the Rhode Island border, Misquamicut Beach to Niantic. And what we're saying is that Mystic is a #1 tourist attraction in the state. So we want you to come for 7 days instead of 2 days. And you can stay here, but go to all, there's great history in New London, and there's beach in New London, and there's beach in Misquamicut. Mystic doesn't have a beach. And there's all kinds of other shopping and great restaurants and trails and activities to do outside of, just right in Mystic. And that's hopefully will be our legacy, that we continue to grow the footprint of Mystic. So when you think of it, you don't just think of the bridge, but you think of something larger.
I'll tell you what, I didn't know about anything about Mystic, but as you're talking to me, I'm like, I have to tell my wife that we got to go and visit Mystic now.
For
I want to know everything that Bruce just mentioned.
For sure.
And for those that are actually listening who aren't from Mystic, what's one reason they should go visit? I mean, you kind of mentioned some, or maybe people should model what you're doing in their town. What are some of those things?
Well, the reason to come visit is it's just a very picturesque, beautiful place, very quaint. We are on the water. And there's so much to do within, a 15 mile, 15 minute, 20 minute drive. And so there is the food. There are 2 world-class casinos 10 miles from us, Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun. There are the beaches to go to, and a lot of history and hiking and trails. So it's and I think the beauty of it is that we're equidistant between Boston and New York City. So we're an hour and a half from either one, and we're accessible by Amtrak. There's a stop in Mystic for Amtrak, so it's easy to get to. Just looking, if you pop on our website or whatever and just look around, there's so much to do. So it's a great place to visit, and there's a lot to do, and we'd like to host you.
What is the website? What is the website? What is the social? Where can people stay connected to find more about the?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's mysticchamber.org. And then our social is at Mystic Chamber. And you can see, we also have an app. That was another thing that we did that was,
On it.
people don't see. We have something called the Go Mystic app, again, providing benefit to our members. Mm-hmm. So we don't charge them for being on it, but we've kind of taken the website and moved it onto an app. It's an amazing app. We bought it from, it's called App My Community, and they, it's very simple. You can get it in either the Apple Store or Google Play. And it says eat, shop, play, stay, work, live. And you go onto each one and it breaks it out. We've had, your app is only as good as the downloads. And we've gotten 5,000 downloads a year. So we have over 15,000 downloads. And it's a great piece to fit in with the membership and people coming.
I like that, man. We could talk for forever because I would love to know more about Mystic. We got to start wrapping things up. But I got this blind question for you.
Yeah.
At the end of every podcast interview, we always ask that blind question. And this one is kind of specified. I kind of mixed it in because the last leader told me to talk about our 25-year-old self. So I was like, okay, I want to ask Bruce something. If you could actually go back to the casino floor, give yourself 25-year-old self some piece of advice, but you had to whisper in the middle of a busy casino floor, what would you say?
Okay. My 25-year-old self and advice, I would say to be bolder than you are, to whatever cap you've put on yourself, limit you've put on yourself, exceed it. Don't limit yourself. Don't think that you've found your sweet spot. Always be, ready to kind of blast off and grow. Don't let yourself be limited. Don't think you've ever made it.
This has been so good. And what is your question?
All right, my question is, I have to read it because
good. I can hear.
It's if someone saw your daily routine, what is one thing that might surprise them?
Ooh, I like that one, Bruce.
Right.
I like that one. That was a good one right there, man. Well, Bruce, we truly do appreciate your time, man, and what you've been doing at Mystic. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's always cool when I see someone transition to something they never expected, but are doing so well. I think it's purpose, right? Life led you to where you're at today. You're doing some amazing things. And I can only imagine, Bruce, by who you are and what I'm hearing, that you're not done. No time soon,
right.
So, but we thank you so much for giving your time here on the Hart Hustle Podcast, and we can't wait to, myself at least, visit Mystic. I got to see what's there. I'm calling you, Bruce. I need to know the best of the best. We thank you so much, Bruce, for being here.
Thank you so much.
This has been the Hart Hustle Podcast.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me and giving us a ring. I really enjoyed it.